story of UFC 278's main event begins in the crime-ridden areas of Birmingham, England, where welterweight title challenger Lion-Edwards came of age.
In Birmingham, Jarvis Road, this is where I grew up. It was me, my brother, and my mum, my older little brother, and my sister. So there's 5 people in a 2-bed apartment. You can imagine the living space.
Edwards relocated as a child from Kingston, Jamaica, where the family business was drug dealing, a necessary evil to survive that would eventually catch up with Edwards' father.
When I was 13, my dad got killed. He got shot in London. That's something you look up to for your whole life, you know, and to know the way that he died, you kind of build that rebellious state. If you don't get something to do, you will end up being stuck in this environment, just hanging around in the street, smoking weed and just messing around, you know. I went through like a stage in my teenage years where I was getting into like gang fights or into the same activity that my dad was involved in, to the age of like 17, where I met martial arts. My mum got me involved in it. She was like, oh, you should try this out, because she wanted me to stay off the street. I fell in love with it. I get like loads of positive reinforcements and being around loads of different guys chasing the same goal. The more I dive into it, the more I fall in love with it.
Charlie, across.
Edwards took to mixed martial arts like a natural, becoming a European champion by the time he was just 22. And bursting onto the UFC welterweight scene.
Striker. I think we're seeing a more refined, higher-level striker who's got more experience inside the octagon against higher-level opposition, and he's coming off of 2 very impressive performances in a row, especially the knockout of Seth Baczynski. Very clean, very sharp technique. I'm excited about this fight.
In just his 4th fight with the promotion, Edwards would be dealt Nigerian upstart Kamara'Usman, a former wrestling resident of the U.S. Olympic Training Center.
Usman continues to apply pressure here.
His transition to mixed martial arts.
Usman may be able to finish this.
Saw him win the Ultimate Fighter with ease.
Usman comes up huge for the Brazilians. The Nigerian nightmare, that's what he wants to be known as. And I'll tell you what, watching him on the Ultimate Fighter, he kind of is a nightmare.
He is a stud athlete. We're talking about a Division II national champion, 3-time All-American, ridiculous wrestling, ridiculous athleticism. He's tricky, he's strong, he's driven, and he's coming into this fight with a lot of confidence.
Like Edwards, Kamara'Usman entered the UFC fighting out of his adopted nation, by way of a distant homeland.
I was born in Auchi, Nigeria, where I grew up and was raised till about 8 years old before immigrating to the States. I remember our compound where we lived, and whatever we wanted, you know, if we wanted food, we grew that. I was able to learn the sense of culture at a young age. I was able to learn the importance of family and how hard you have to be able to work in order to ensure that your family has a good life. This is my daughter Samira, and that's Santiago, George, my coach's son, and having a good time. This is why I'm in love with this sport. If I put in the work, I will see those results. You can see that in my career. Once I got laser focused on what I wanted to do, I was able to achieve great heights, like becoming an Ultimate Fighter champion.
Being the Ultimate Fighter winner, this is his big show debut. This is the real big fight, and they gave him a tough task.
This is not easy at all. Leon Edwards is extremely confident, and he absolutely matches the athleticism of Kamarau-Usman, no question. Interesting way to start the fight for Usman.
My first fight after winning the Ultimate Fighter was Leon Edwards.
Edwards looking for that front kick straight up the middle.
Good fighter, tough guy.
Edwards looking very good here.
Sharp striker, very, very fluid striker.
Very impressed here with Leon Edwards' movement and striking.
And I knew it was going to be a tough fight.
Usman in the clinch. Let's see if he can get it this time. Usman's got a hard time defending against these elbows. There's another one. And now Edwards back up to his feet. Nicely done.
Very impressed with Leon Edwards.
Last thing, act him in the clinch, okay? Don't wait too much.
He wasn't willing to go away so easily.
All right, round two, you ready? You ready, sir? Let's go, fight.
Good catch of the punch, and that's the season striking Edwards just seeing stuff.
He got tagged by a hard left.
Just you can tell him that. We're going to put him on his back here.
He gets it quick.
3 rounds, at the pace and the tempo that I put on him in that fight, he was still there.
Leon Edwards is not quitting, though. He's still in this fight very much. This third round could be just as dangerous as the other two.
Usman with a nice takedown. Usman's all over him here. Nice knees to the thigh, and Usman's not giving him a break.
This has been a back-and-forth fight, and Usman showing that his striking can hang with some of the best strikers in the division, too.
The pressure and the grappling of Usman is causing Edwards to fade. We're really seeing that now in the third round here.
Usman went out there and just did his job. That's the Nigerian nightmare right there.
So something in me, I knew that at some point I might have to fight this guy again.
One of the most exciting prospects in the division. Kamarau-Usman, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, here we go. You ready? Let's get it on.
Kamarau-Usman's 2015 victory over Leon Edwards.
They're really challenging Usman tonight with Leon Edwards.
I couldn't agree more because Edwards throws very clean technical strikes.
Was just his 8th professional MMA fight.
And we're looking at 2 clear mixed martial artists, but we're really looking at a striking-centered guy versus a grappling-centered guy.
And while the raw talent had more to learn in mixed martial arts,
The pressure and the grappling of Usman is causing Edwards to fade.
he could very well lean on an extensive background in wrestling.
Usman just all over Edwards here in this third round. This is all Usman.
The pressure that I'm going to put on guys, no one can deal with it because they know that I can take them down at will when I want to.
I wrestled 2 years at William Penn University, transferred out to the University of Nebraska at Kearney, where I became national champions. Got the invitation to become an Olympic Training Center resident and train for the 2012 Olympics.
Usman, drilling with NCAA champion J.P. O'Connor here at the U.S. Olympic Training Center.
And eventually making the trek into MMA. Starting wrestling in high school, it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life. But for some sick reason, I fell in love with that.
Start out push-pulling here. Push-pulling, use it as your stretch. Push-pulling, working into underhooks. Clearing the underhooks. Little runners, clearing up runners.
Wrestling taught me that no matter what obstacle that you go through, it can't keep you down.
So I'm here, he whizzes me up. I'm attacking that position hard, attacking the seatbelt hard, getting control of the hip. If I can get behind and lift quick, great. Okay, or in the middle here. Right, control in the middle, get the leg high. Just circle them down. It's the grind. In order to get through a college season at a high level, you have to develop unbelievable mental fortitude. You know, be ready to just every single day grind and grind and grind. All right, 6 2-minute goes. That builds a mind that's hard to crack. Kamaru's showing that he's a guy that continuously evolves, whether it's wrestling or MMA, and he continues to work day in and day out to improve his skills.
As long as you're given effort, each and every day you're given the opportunity to be 1% better than you were yesterday. And I'm reaping the benefits.
This guy believes UFC gold will be mine. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
They say that wrestling is the best base for mixed martial arts.
Wow, big slam there from Usman.
And Usman provides clear evidence to support that belief.
Look at the power in Kamaruussman. That was a white man. Usman with a brick wall of a mouth. You're like having a building on top of you.
The more tools he added to his wrestling.
Kamaruussman is just an outstanding wrestler and really developing into an excellent striker as well.
The more dominant Usman would become.
His face is just a mask of blood now.
And by 2019,
Tonight, the Nigerian Nightmare gets his wish. His first shot at an undisputed UFC championship.
Big uppercut.
Willie's in trouble here.
We've seen Kamaruussman have sensational performances. The question was always, how would he do against the best in the world?
he had both captured.
And it turns out he is the best in the world.
First title defense in front of Usman here tonight.
Big left hand.
First undisputed title shot for Covington.
Nasty right hand to the body.
And defending. UFC welterweight gold.
Trying to put Covington away. That is it. And still, Kamaruussman finishes Colby Covington.
Every 170-pound fighter in the UFC is now chasing Usman's undisputed crown. Especially Leon Edwards. Edwards was one of the many opponents out-grappled by the now reigning king.
Immediate clinch by Usman. Let's see what kind of takedown defense Edwards has here.
And he was keen on avenging a loss that predated his focus on wrestling.
When I fought Kamaru, at the time, I didn't have a clue how to wrestle.
Looking for the trip, and he gets it. Third takedown, and Usman's not giving him a break.
Back in the day, it was like a thing where you had to like go to America to improve yourself and to get better. So for that camp, I actually moved to America to train.
The Birmingham striker has been seeking to improve his wrestling since entering the UFC. And training at the American Kickboxing Academy in San Jose, California, was an attempt to do just that.
The camp aren't the best. The coaches are like, not your gym, you're like second to their fighters. I didn't felt like I was learning much. That's led me to go back home. Over the last 7 years, that's all I've been focused on. Improve myself and to put myself in places that I didn't enjoy, which is wrestling and grappling.
Just steps, 2 for 2. Just make sure you're in touching range, you're not out of range for the single.
Even my mental state has changed on the game and how much more I understand it now. When I've not lost since.
Here is Leon Edwards looking to kickstart a run to contention tonight.
Nice hips from Leon, stopping that takedown attempt. Now look at this.
Really learned some valuable lessons his last time out against Kamaruussman.
Following his loss to Usman, the grappling game of Leon Edwards would immediately improve.
This is tight, you can't have it.
Good sprawl by Leon Edwards there. Turns the position on Luque. Oh, big left hook. Beautiful work.
Leon Edwards has proved he is a bona fide threat in the world
Edwards able to stay upright. Oh, man, another elbow on the break.
Kamaru, he is a good fighter, so am I, so...
Yeah, he's cutting up RDA.
And eventually, if we both keep winning, we're going to meet each other again in the UFC, and when that time comes, I know that I'll be prepared, and it will be a totally different result from the first fight.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Trying to prove to fellow UK fighters that you don't have to go stateside to become a UFC champion.
By the spring of 2020, British UFC welterweight Leon Edwards had assembled an 8-fight win streak and was booked to face former champion Tyron Woodley in the London headliner.
It's a home game for Leon Edwards, who's in the top 5 of the welterweight Shark Tank. Tyron Woodley wants to get the belt back. A lot of questions answered when these two square off.
But just as the stars began to align for Edwards, the entire world would turn.
The pandemic hit.
NBA suspended, NHL suspended. I mean, sports in general suspended.
A lot of sports organizations with billions of dollars behind them have shut things down.
So the Sunday before the fight, got a phone call from the UFC saying they're cancelling the show. Everything is locking down in the world.
Leon Edwards supposed to fight Tyron Woodley, which was an awesome fight that people were looking forward to. Now it's very unclear about what's going to happen next.
Leon Edwards is the guy who gets the short end of the stick in all of this.
I remember how devastated I felt because it was like a fighter's dream to headline his home show, you know.
The UFC still intends to proceed with its live events.
There's never been a harder time to do business than right now. Guess what? I'm pulling it off.
Fake slams for UFC side.
These guys are ready to go. They want to compete, and we're going to do everything we can to keep them safe.
Then from there, I got matched up with Hamzat.
So we just got a deal done for Leon Edwards versus Chimaev.
Fights get cancelled.
We go.
Hamzat Chimaev and Leon Edwards will not be taking place on December 19th. Leon Edwards, who tests positive for COVID-19.
And then we got rematched again.
All the way in, all the way in. Nice.
Hamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards on the 20th.
Yes.
It's cancelled.
They were supposed to fight January 20th. That fight was then taken off because Chimaev got COVID-19 and said his lungs hadn't recovered in time.
It's tough to see this fight fall apart because it's like the second time got taken away from him.
And then we got rematched again.
Hamzat Chimaev will take on Leon Edwards March 13th. Dana White is rebooking this for the third time.
Hamzat pulled out.
Hamzat Chimaev is still suffering from the effects of COVID. We'll figure out something else for Leon.
The big question, especially Leon Edwards, what was going to happen to him with Hamzat Chimaev out? And it turns out we have our answer. Belal Muhammad is stepping up to face Leon Edwards.
Got to the fight against Belal. I was okay, I want to fight now. And then the second round, eye poke.
Oh, it's a poke in the eye.
This is the most unfortunate thing for Leon Edwards. Been away for so long, and then this happened.
The fight got called off, so no contest, even though I was winning the fight. Just my luck for that to happen. I went in there, focused on my next chapter to be a world champion, you know, and to have that opportunity taken away from me. What do I do now, you know? No. No.
In June of 2021, bad luck would turn to good fortune, as Edwards quickly followed up a no-contest bout against Belal Muhammad with a pay-per-view showcase against Nate Diaz.
The consummate fighter's fighter, the realest of the real, Nate Diaz returns. He will challenge third-ranked welterweight contender Leon Rocky Edwards.
We have an amazing showcase for Leon Edwards, a guy who's been kind of left out of the mix only because of bad luck and certainly not because of his skill level.
And when you fight Nathan Diaz, it is the biggest night of your professional life.
This is the high-profile fight that Leon Edwards has wanted.
Leon Edwards hoping tonight to lead as the #1 contender and set up a championship opportunity.
This is the Leon Edwards coming out party, but Nate Diaz is a tough dance partner.
This is what Leon Edwards needed. He needed somebody like Nate Diaz to accept the fight with him, to put him in a big pay-per-view spot like this, to get a 5-round challenge like this. If he can go out there and perform like Leon Edwards can, he's going to be a star tonight. Oh, big left from Edwards.
This is a big top contender. This is a big showing for Leon Edwards. It really is. It's just such a joy to watch him fight. Look at Nate, looking like a horror movie, just wandering towards him. You've had a tremendous streak of bad luck over the
signature win over one of the sport's biggest superstars.
Congratulations to Leon. Thanks to Arizona for the love.
Things started looking up for Leon Edwards, only for his title shot to be prolonged and his next matchup to fall apart.
After over 2 years in the making, Leon Rocky Edwards finally gets his shot against the one and only Jorge Masvidal. I'm talking about UFC 269 going down in December.
Boy, do we have some breaking news. Jorge Masvidal versus Leon Edwards is officially off UFC 269 on December 11th. Undisclosed injury for Masvidal, no word yet on whether it will be rebooked or UFC will move on.
I had a feeling that he was going to go running. I believe he's a fraud.
Since the onset of the pandemic, Edwards has had 6 official fight postponements or cancellations.
I could fight just to fight if I wanted to, but there's no one for me to fight.
But for champion Kamarauusman, the same period of time was defined by an iconic run of title defenses.
Everybody said this couldn't be done. No sports are operational, but here we are in Yas Island.
Abu Dhabi has actually created this safety zone on the island. The whole COVID-19 thing is covered.
Kamarauussman is the welterweight champ. He has run roughshod through one of the UFC's deepest divisions.
This man just gets better and better with every single outing.
Too good. Takedown. Kamarauussman at his suffocating best.
Tonight belongs to the Nigerian Nightmare.
The situation with the coronavirus, the events will be moved to the UFC Apex in Las Vegas.
Gilbert Burns believe he has the style to beat Usman.
Gilbert's in trouble. There is a new record holder for the longest winning streak in UFC welterweight history.
Put some respect on my name.
Kamarauussman, the combat sports leader, in front of a compacted crowd for the first time in more than a year.
Kamarauusman striking is still leaps and bounds. That was insane.
I don't know what the ceiling is for this man.
Live from Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. The UFC has returned for the first time in 2 years. Now Colby will have to deal with Usman at 2.0.
Usman credits his recent string of wins and knockouts, in large part to Trevor Whitman.
Oh, yeah, but it's just on that first set.
A Colorado mastermind who began refining Usman's striking in early 2020.
Kicking that right heel over.
And now prepares him for the next challenge. A former foe whose coveted title shot has finally been granted.
Leon, I wouldn't say he's had a string of bad luck, because he's gotten a lot more time with less fights to prepare.
Yeah, beautiful. Like it always looks like a jab coming. Starts almost straight. Oh yeah, good.
While I was fighting, stuck in a training camp to go defend my belt over and over and over, he was just training, having a good time, eating, celebrating, hanging out, enjoying his family. It was great for him to be able to sit back and still get the title shot when it was his turn. Hopefully he's done his homework, and he's gonna give me the best that he's got that night.
I've been deserving a title shot now for 2-3 years. I'm the one here with the most wins in the division. That's deserving of the title shot. And now I am ready.
At long last, the pair will meet in Salt Lake City, Utah, in the main event of UFC 278.
Leon's the biggest, baddest dude in the welterweight division. He poses the biggest threat. But as a champion, as each and every one of these guys, it is my job to let him know that it's not his time yet.
When it comes down to it, it's two-man fighting, and UFC 278, I'll get my hand raised, become a world champion, and shock the world.
UFC welterweight title challenger Leon Edwards came of age on the Birmingham streets, where those without direction can succumb to crime and temptation. So the proud Brit has partnered with UK youth charity Onside to provide an outlet for the nation's adolescents in the form of positive mentoring programs that include MMA training.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, welcome to the way. Hi, good to see you.
I lost one of my friends to knife crime, so we're trying to think what more can I do to give back, because martial arts done so much for me in my life and changed my life.
We'll show you around, yeah. So we've got lots of sports, lots of music, lots of cooking, so everything, whatever people want to do, they can come do it here. So yeah, it's really good for the kids.
I was kind of like brainstorming with the UFC. They wanted to get on board straight away, and they invested to buy like kit for the kids and like head guards, shin guards, gloves. This is my second facility now I've seen, and I am blown away by what is available for the kids to do. Congrats on the hard work you're doing for the kids, and I appreciate it greatly. I'm happy to be involved and to help any way I can. Hey, how are you?
Welcome, yeah, good, thanks, good to see you. Thanks for coming down today. This is Legacy Youth Zone. Youth Zone is a 21st century youth facility for young people, and it's all about engaging with young people and using MMA.
It's good, working. Yeah, you're good.
Having Leon involved is so important because actually they can see how credible it is.
Put your knee up, then out.
And what we're hoping to do is when we get this really established here, we can engage with many more young people across the UK.
I came from a similar background as the youth that we're trying to help, you know, from not having much to do as a kid. I'm proud to be one of the front runners in the UK for MMA, for the UFC, and to give back to the kids and to see like anything's possible. I'm very happy and I'm proud of it. It's a great environment to want to be involved in, and having that back in the day in my life, that would help 100%. Boys, love. Yeah, for sure. Love my brothers.
The efforts of Birmingham's hero continue in the form of a new gym, where Edwards welcomes anyone interested in training or competing in martial arts. The Team Renegade also remains focused on the task at hand.
Pick the pace up.
A UFC 278 rematch with welterweight champion Kamarauusman.
Keep it simple. Sharpen it up. Yes, strong. Sharpen it up. Sharpen your work up.
Leon, this is his goal, this is his dream, this is what he talks about all the time. He's not that young kid that Usman met years ago. He knew where he was lacking, he knew where he had to tighten up on, and he went home and done his homework. Now is Leon's chance to shine.
Good. Nice. This time I'll be prepared. I am seasoned to wrestling. I understand the mixed martial arts part of the game, and I'm going there to hurt him.
Guys, around the body boxing! Back him up!
He's not this man that everyone's blood enough to be his invincible man.
All the way down, all the way up.
And I truly believe UFC 278, I'll be a world champion.
There's a new welterweight king. His name is Kamarauussman.
Becoming a world champion is no easy task.
He is the champion, and he's the champion by beating everybody they put in front of him.
But remaining champ is even harder.
All right, here we go.
British banger Leon Edwards has filled his passport.
It not only takes constant focus, but constant evolution. A balance that Kamarauussman and Trevor Whitman meticulously refined.
I saw this fight the week after I fought the fight, and I watched it over. I'm like, man, I didn't like the performance because I knew how I felt in this fight. Each fight, each camp is different. And that's what I love about Trevor. Coming in and see what he's willing to dial up.
This is very important to watch. You get to see the growth in both of them, because obviously you're gonna watch the fights that are closer too. And for me, it's always about tendencies.
He'd been fighting for only 5 years when we fought here. He'd been fighting for 5 years, I'd been fighting for 3 years.
Let's go fight.
I'm very impressed here with Leon Edwards' movement and striking.
He's very good with it. He's a sharpshooter with a left hand. His left hand is just 4 traps.
Edwards looking very good here.
Very sharp, really long. Surprisingly.
His lead hand is just to set all that up.
This is a very tough fight. This has been a back and forth fight.
Leon is spectacular as a striker. His amount of combinations that he puts together, I mean, it's spectacular to watch. I'm a super fan of Leon. I expect him to be more determined, and he knows what to expect. But this is what makes you who you are. But I do think there's going to be a finish, and Kamaru's going to come out on top. That expression on his face is key. What makes you so great, Kamaru, is you don't allow that into your head. It's your work rate and your amount of effort that you put into the gym and into the fight is key in everything you do.
Usman and Edwards are not the rising contenders they were in 2015.
We're looking at two clear mixed martial artists, but we're really looking at a striking-centered guy versus a grappling-centered guy.
Bucks, let's go. Warming up.
They are the best welterweight fighters in the world.
I'm the best welterweight on the planet right now.
And they enter this rematch at UFC 278
Yes, sir.
with the elevated stakes of a world championship belt.
He is a sharpshooter, an outstanding striker.
He's so well-rounded. His fight IQ is next level.
Confidence is high for Leon Rocky Edwards.
That was insane.
I see this fight playing out similar to the way the first fight played out.
Usman's all over him here, and Usman's not giving him a break. Nasty ground and pound.
In that first fight, 30 seconds more, I would have stopped Leon Edwards. And I see myself stopping Leon Edwards.
Chip on his shoulder, ready to take out anybody, and he's got all the skills to do so.
One of the guys that people are really struggling to figure out.
I've dedicated so much of my time
Yes, sir.
to improve myself, to get better, and this time we told him to fight.
Leon Edwards, he's definitely a contender for this division. There's levels in this game, and Kamaru's level is higher than we even thought of before.
Oh, wonderful.
This one's gonna come down to